Welcome in to another deck guide with Boneyard Gaming, and we're a little bit on the meme side this round for you guys, but had a lot of fun with the deck. Climbed almost to rank 1 with it, not quite, but we went 16 and 7 with it. I will post that along with the video as well. So we are at a 69% win rate with it. Weaknesses, it's draw dependent, and it can definitely, have a lot of bricks in it. So, if you think about it, we use Mask of Ouroboros to kind of help thin a card, because we do have the full discard package in there with the skirmishers and even Morkvark. So hopefully you can get a skirmisher in the draw. If not, so we have a skull to help with the thin and the discard package. So we are running a scenario here without defender. So you are subject to heat wave with that, but no worries. Ceres is an interesting play in the deck. Okay, again, she's almost a thinning target more than she is a point slam for us. Our problem with it, I like to get her out early, but we don't have many options to self-damage our cards. So you could lead her onto the Shield Maiden that she spawns and then get her out, but if you're doing that in round 1, potentially you are using your leader builder already. So what I actually tried to do was get a priest out. I drop a priest in there, and then I dropped Ceres on the left-hand side of the priest, so that her Shield Maiden would spawn on the right-hand side of the priest, and then after your turn was over, he damages the Shield Maiden and pulls out the rest of the card, plus it kind of gets his engine up and rolling. Usually, when you drop the priest out there, it's because you're dropping it out there by itself and it's not proccing. Most people won't remove it right away because they can let it even proc once with their 5 removal before they go after it, and that's fine. If it goes to 5 and they remove it, that's fine, because it's already done the damage to the Shield Maiden to get them out. So you're okay with that. Usually when you drop it off there by itself, your opponents will tend to leave it alone. A little bit risky. Rarely, rarely. One game, I think, is the one game where I dropped Ceres without a good opportunity. I think I had a Bardrome in hand. I was going to use it next turn. It got removed. So, you do want to make sure that it's set up. Worst case, maybe you hold on to Ceres and you don't... you use leader ability on her to thin. It's just, again, she's a thinning ability, so then you're just that many more chances to brick. But worked out pretty well for us for the most part. Heat wave again. The fact that we're running Grimace and we can get around defenders is nice, so we can heat wave targets. We don't have a lot of control in this list. So heat wave is certainly nice. So Draco Turtle combos very well with your leader which obviously gives you a Madrome to boost that way up again. Obviously it also combos with your priests as well. So certainly a good target for us to have there. So we're running Kambi, and I'll tell you this. I will include a non-meme list, a more meta list there. Hopefully, if you guys don't want to run Kambi, there's a good list that maybe even is probably a little bit stronger without Kambi in it, that runs Defender and a few other ones. So be sure to look in the description. I will run the meme list and the meta list to kind of help you guys decide which list you want to run. The video will only be off of Kambi, but trust me, the other list is probably a little bit stronger. Without them adding a balance change, I feel like this month I was more in line to have a little fun. So I'm not in a super big rush to make it to pro and knock out placements. So I thought we'd have a little bit of fun. So the great thing with Ursine is if you set up your graveyard correctly, you can get out your scenario in one go. Now, it's not like the old days where you could second wind scenario and drop scenario, so you are still subject to heat wave when you drop scenario, but once you've got that out, you know, the one thing you'll see is there's a lot of times where I would drop, maybe I had the Crow Clan creature in my hand, I'd actually drop her first before I drop scenario, so that since I don't need them to proc that, I can get Ursine going right away. Chances are I can get them bonded right off the bat for Ursine. So, you know, you'll see that play a couple times there. Again, Grimmist, you know, another option to proc scenario should be needed. He's Purify to get around defenders, stop bleeding. So obviously having Grimace is good in the list. So we're running Giga Scorpion Decoction. Again, we do need to have some sort of removal. We don't have much, but this is the other removal that we ran. So Freya's Blessing, you know, again, running as many alchemy cards as we can to try and get value from the Crow Clan. Our big targets there were running, we would either get another priest back, a preacher back, another priest back. Sometimes if your crows are in the graveyard, you can get an 8-point play from crows plus Crow Mother possibly. So there's your other option. Very occasionally, sometimes I'll go get Scald. Say we didn't get good draws. Say you got a card in your hand that you just don't like. Maybe you could go Freya's Blessing that to try and swap out in a third round for a stronger card. Sometimes we did that option depending on how we wanted things to go. So we got one Modrome in hand. Like I said, I usually discard this. I don't play it a whole lot since we have one in our leader ability. You know, or you know, maybe we'll pull one through Ursine. Certainly, the fact that he can play any alchemy card is certainly good, but didn't play a whole lot of that action there. Again, you know, here's your thinning. You know, your shield maidens, your pro messengers, and then again at the back piece. Be very careful here. You know, you can end up with some bad hands and have to do aggressive mulligans, but I always felt like if I aggressively mulligan too hard, it was hitting. Never did I get just one shieldman when I didn't have Ceres in my hand, so I could be like, well, at least I'll thin that way. You know, no way. I'd have Ceres in hand. I'd aggressively mulligan that third card, and you know, in comes a shield maid. So just, you know, be very careful. Again, when you get these bonded and alchemy cards pop off, certainly great. Again, the Crow Messengers help with your thinning. Priest helps with your Ceres, or goes against your, you know, actually a lot of cards. You know, you're getting, I put her on, I put the Priest on Crow Mother. So a lot of options that you can do to get value there. You know, another alchemy card just to have as many possible. You know, if you can get it bonded, then these things play great. You know, because you could be getting four proc a turn off of the creatures. So just throwing alchemy cards out there is why we have them, and obviously to help make sure we don't break Ursine. So, and then like I said, finishing out with our skirmishers. Like I said, we're running 2 skirmishers and 1 skull because technically, if we're on blue coin, we'll use the other one there. I usually would mulligan away Morkvarg and Kambi in rounds 1, possibly 2, because if you get your thinning correctly enough, you should only have, you know, 4 or 5 cards left to look at, and the chances of you getting Kambi and Morkvarg back are pretty good. So with that, guys, we are going to jump into some games and show you how this deck performed for us. Enjoy. So welcome to game 1 here. It's against Nilfgaard Lockdown, and I'll say this, leader ability in my mind isn't super important on this deck. It's a nice point slam, don't get me wrong, but it's not an all B for the deck. So Lockdown, in my mind, doesn't really present too many challenges for us. And so we got some good stuff, good thinning in our hand. You know, the one scary thing about it is, you know, with maybe like a series, like we wouldn't have leader ability in later rounds to, means we have to use priest to get her out, which that certainly could be a scary option. But we didn't have, like I said, we didn't have too much trouble getting Ceres out. We come out just firing on all cylinders. This deck, with the right cards, can produce points in a hurry. And that's the nice thing about it. Like I said, it's why I think it does well in a long round 3. It's got cards that will manage well in a short round 3. So when we have time, when we have chances to get round control, I don't mess around. You go after, play fast, and secure a lead and bleed. And like I said, I thought we were better off against Nilfgaard bleeding more times than not. We had really good success against Nilfgaard overall. Like I said, it's nice to just see this, you know, a good round 1 hand, knowing that we've got power, and we could tell that he's just really focused on thinning at this point. I think he's already understanding that this round's probably not going to work out well for him. So I think he's just concentrated on thinning. But same thing here. We're happy to kind of keep playing. We've only played 1 gold, honestly. I mean, you could say Crow Mother, but yeah, she's playing her early is the whole point of her cards. So Draco Turtle's the only big thing we've committed, though opponent has not committed anything of tremendous value. Just like I said, just been thinning on their side. Well, like I said, out comes a tourney joust, and really, like I said, doesn't look that good. Like I said, because we have our alchemy cards, we might as well get full value out of them and just start to pull away. You know, I think this pass, at this point, you know, we'd probably, if he played another card, we'd be in good position to get out anyways, but Mr. Opponent's going to see the writing on the wall that this round probably doesn't need to go any longer than it has. Again, being a card down doesn't matter. We'll be happy to make the opponents bleed. Especially Nilfgaard matchup. They don't do well in a short round 3. So again, you know, we've got Priest in hand. When we see Ceres come into hand, certainly a good combo. That again, that's the one matchup that Lockdown did not bode well for us, is to get Ceres to proc. But we have a lot of thinning that we still want to do. So my thought would be, hey, you know, let's go ahead and drop it early. It's unsuspecting. It doesn't look super, you know, it doesn't look very it looks harmless there, sitting there by itself with nothing to damage. So I feel like, hey, good chance that it won't get removed. And he actually chooses to copy it with his Brathens, which hey, very good for us. Said all we need to do is just have it get 1 proc on the Shield Maidens, and So you can see that's the way we like to get Ceres procced is right there. And then, you know, now it's an engine that's rolling. Most people in the Battle Trance deck aren't expecting Ceres to come out. So, you know, that's pretty nice for us. So he puts his defender out, which this is why Gremist is so huge for us, because we have limited control in the deck. Well, gosh, if I wasn't able to get Gremist out and then, you know, not have access to my heat wave the way we want it to be, would certainly be unfortunate. So Gremist, a lot of times provide us a lot of value in the deck. And at this point, you wonder what, with lockdown, you assume ball's going to come down at some point. We've got the combo to make it go away, which is certainly nice. Same thing with the Enforcers, so maybe he's trying to protect the Enforcers. Maybe he's got a Fergus that's going to come down and pop a lot of spying on it, but he didn't copy it, so... Like I said, the great thing is we're not super concerned with removal for the most part. Like I said, we've got Crow Mother in Graveyard, so it really does. It makes the Crow Messenger from a 8-point play to a 12-point play, so always nice. So opponent is falling behind. You know, he's going to have to bring out the big guns here. And out drops ball, which we like to see.
Have I something on my teeth?
Just go ahead and take care of that. And really, at this point, you know, I feel like what we want to see in our deck is it's thinned. We've got Ursine, who again, if we don't have to draw another druid. We just need to get a scenario in hand, and we can make it go off by just having. There's Fergus. So, like I said, that's a good point.
These I sign a treaty with.
We know that we'll get Priest will allow us to tie that back up. And this is about as perfect pass as you're going to get. We love the 2 cards in hand. We think those make us for a very valuable round 3. I think a lot as long as we get scenario, we should be in fantastic shape. So we get back to even cards, which secures our last say. We're making an opponent play a card that is essentially getting him no value. So, you know, we imagine he's got some good stuff in hand, and now he's going to have to force out a Roderick and a gold.
Push on! No mercy!
So he takes Ceres. I mean, that'll be an 8-point play for him in round 3. A little carryover value. So we're looking for Morkvarg in scenario. Druids don't hurt at all either. This is a little scary to have to use all the mulligans for scenario, but like I said, that's why thinning is so important. So again, you know, you'll see this that instead of dropping scenario right away, if I drop a preacher and then scenario, I get bonded sooner. So that's nice, because then I can start getting them the alchemy proc with scenario. So if you've got Ermion in hand, you know, go ahead and work towards getting your bonded instead of playing scenario first and then playing your preacher, like, you know.
And that's right.
Reach beyond what the eyes see and the ears hear.
So the great thing is now when we throw Ermion out next, we're going to get a lot of boost from alchemy plays.
Need a good slide. Real good.
Look at this, you know, we're down 11 points right now.
Gods protect us.
There comes an alchemy card, which there's 4 points from boosting
No
alone.
insult.
Another 4 points. Look at that. I mean, come on. The plus we get a Kambi. I mean, what a fantastic round 3 this turns out to be. It's almost, you're almost untouchable.
Strong, my rule will be righteous. What's with you?
Yeah, what can you do? GG's. So we got a Ursine ritual deck for game 2 here. So I think it was nice to highlight this game to show you how powerful we are in a long round 3. But it's also very important, you know, assuming that this is a Lippy matchup. Again, it's not always the case with Ursine ritual right now. I feel like there are some warrior decks that are using Ursine ritual and combinations of fairies, so can't always be sure right off the bat that you're playing Lippy, but regardless, I think Ursine ritual still demand a strong round 1. My goal was to win round 1 and go for the long round 3. So we throw same plan here, throw priest out, hopefully that he doesn't bait removal. If so, I mean, now you're forced to hold your series and hope that you don't brick Geo Maidens, which makes your mulligans certainly a lot harder the rest of the round. But nice to see that he's going for thinning and point slamming as well.
Either with my shield or on it.
Give him no rest, no reprieve.
There we go. Off and running for us, which is certainly nice to have rolling. Now, if he wants to bait the removal on it, so be it. You can tell he's setting up maybe a priest as well. He'll soon be getting a pretty nice combo. It gives us the pass. Honestly, not sure why. So I think here we can go ahead and push and thin a little bit. Problem is we don't have any alchemy cards, which kind of sucks. That's alright, we'll throw Mother out.
For you, my children.
So he maybe just had a bricked hand around one. I'm not quite sure, but now it does look like he's falling in line as the Lippy style.
Don't you pester me.
So, like I said, great thing is we're in good position to keep on thinning.
Come on, let's go. Time to face our fears.
And a lot of Blue Boy Lugos, he does play. You can get Lugos, Priest, and a Protector.
Our lines.
Those can play for huge chunks of points.
Fill our hearts with wrath.
You know, you gotta wonder, do you commit scenario here? Keep pushing. Go back, you know, got Ceres out. We haven't committed too much. Take the pass here. Go to the long round. No point in bleeding him. Did get a lot of good cards out that we don't want to have to compete with. But yeah, perfect time to take the pass and fight out a long round 3 with them. Had 6 cards left in our deck. Go. Got the combo. Pretty nice thinning for us. Do have pros in our deck. I mean, we got a lot of good stuff in here to pack a punch. There's Lippy, but
Time for
whatever.
some running.
Continue on with our point slam. Like I said, I will say to a certain extent, you almost have to manage your cards here a little bit in some of these long rounds. So get his Herald off. Really, no big deal. So we're gonna throw Draco out again. If it gets heat wave, so what? I'd rather see that get heat wave than scenario. It's nice to, in a long round 3, to have multiple targets that can go tall.
You said get free!
Man is an
So,
arrogant
you know,
creature.
I probably wish I would have done what I talked about earlier about where I throw out the preacher first and then drop scenario, but I'm pretty sure when I drop the preacher next, you still get bonded anyways if you're playing a preacher second, so I guess it really doesn't make that big of a difference.
Need a good slap.
Nice Hayman Spectre value there, but she's actually got a really good point slam on us.
Trust equally.
Thank
in
gosh, like I
heart
said, we
and
have
mind.
our
Plunge all into
creatures
murk
bonded
with
there.
a shrill cry.
Still not sure about Heat Wave. So I usually try to be cautious about committing anything on Draco Turtle as far as leader ability because, like I said, that gets... You're wide and tall, but tall removal can really, really suck, so... I do want to get priests
I can help you if you wish.
set up.
Modern Freyr is patient, but
We
she
do. We
brooks
choose
no
to
insult.
go tall on Draco there, but
Accept our sacrifice!
I wanted to catch up in points.
For the clan! For Skellige!
That actually played for 2 points for me. Hey, thanks.
Not you again!
Governor Grimace, so our back row is completely full. You see we're starting to punch a nice lead here.
I sense strong magic.
Going for the boost. He's got a strong round 3. I mean, you can always almost assume he's going to get another. If he's got Chris the Talesman, which she's usually doesn't give you the Talesman, but you can almost assure that he's got one in his hand then. But do I want to get rid of that? He has no more leader ability, and I don't want to be able to proc Boo Boy anymore. So this is a good opportunity to show you that if you have the final 3 cards as Kambi, Morkvarg, and Heatwave, a lot of times I will actually Heatwave, basically you're going to get to remove the last 2 cards. So I actually like to play possibly Kambi first and then Heatwave second. So you'll see a lot of games where I know I play Heatwave first here, but I felt like you could absolutely play Kambi first and then have him discard a card. And then, that's probably how I would have done it differently. Because there's chances are that I could have got the Heatwave. I don't think I looked at what I got here. Usually I do like to look at what I remove with Kambi, but nice to get the win. Game 3 here against the Precision Strike list. So this is where you realize, okay, Morkvarg, Kambi, give me that gourd. I want to snatch that gourd right from my opponent's final say. That's the game plan. Again, another match where, gosh, you really want to make sure you got a good hand, a hand that you're prepared to go deep with, because you want to win round 1 here and secure that last say.
Have you seen a fuse lying about, have you?
Also, a little nerve-wracking against some of these cards, these lists, because they do have good removal. Look at that, you know, we get to bring in Pro Mother. If we didn't have Pro Mother, I mean, how powerful is that? That, you know, we discard into an 8-point play and draw in to an 8-point play. I mean, that is very hard for anyone to keep up with that kind of value in a round 1. The great thing is if we need to get a little, you know, I guess we're in a little bit of a tight spot about what you want to discard with your. I know I've seen some people discard Pro Mother there, but I almost feel like at that point your EA's not too much value here, unless we commit Morkvarg. And then, I mean, you know, we could commit Morkvarg and then hope for a Skirmisher to combo with Kambi, which is certainly fine. I mean, it's only a 1-point difference, so why not, you know?
Disturb a god and rest, mortal.
We have Ceres and Priest in our hands, so we have the combo there. I'm just gonna see if I can get this Priest off unsuspecting. Don't mind my Priest. He can't even damage anybody. He's just a 3, but you know. Yeah, Circle of Lives are bad news for me. That's fine. We'll just hold Ceres in our hands. But getting dangerously close. He's keeping decent pace. Obviously, because we couldn't get Ceres out there, that sucks. So we just have to. We really want to win the round. We have to commit Morkvarg. We don't have Kambi in hand, anyways. Again, you know, worst case scenario, if you don't get Kambi, you know, no big deal. You know, getting last say to get or getting Gord off the table is still huge. So. Like I said, it's nice to be up significant points here. We didn't really, I don't feel like we committed a whole lot. Draco Turtle wasn't something that I wanted to commit. But obviously with all the plays I made, I had to commit something. So, you know, that does bring his heat wave out to commit that, which is great because we didn't really have anything to play on it. So it was a little bit of a bait where I feel like we got him. And at that point, I could take my pass.
Oh, you've done it now.
Obviously, Justice does play for big points.
The fish pissing
That
lakes.
sucks. We kind of blew our last say a little bit there. So now we have to maintain it. So, you know, like I said, now we have Skirmisher. So we can use Skirmisher with Kambi. That'll be certainly fine. Like I said, we did not get enough thinning done to mulligan more yet. We know we got another blessing, so really
Who is virgin, mother, and crone.
about our best option.
Fill our hearts with wrath.
Yeah, I wish I would have picked another card there because, again, since we didn't have Ceres out, obviously I can use leader ability. Once you get to round 3, if you haven't got your Ceres out, you can certainly use leader ability to get it out. So now I guess technically I don't need priest at that point to manage that, but I do grab one in hand. So really, I mean, we're missing Grimace there, but, you know, again, that's the one thing I will say is when you don't get Ceres out, you probably better leave a mulligan in hand, because that can happen. You know, I got greedy. This just shows you why I should have, and from this game on, I was much better about that. Now, the reason I'm showing this game is a couple of reasons. I can unfuck a hand sometimes. So we'll make up for that mistake, but you're still kind of losing points on it, because when I have to go use my blessing to grab a 4-point card, you know, it's not ideal, but just I want to let you guys know that, you know, it is an option should certain prerequisites set you up for it. Again, just don't take that mulligan. You know, play your odds.
I can help you if you wish.
See, I should be playing full scenario into a druid here and procking that scenario in one go. You know, I'm losing the preacher value, but see, I've got to go get a Skald. I got to bring him back to then draw in and cycle out my crows. So again, technically, I'm bringing a 6 in. It just, like I said, yeah, we're undoing the hand to give it better value, but, you know, I really want... Perfect scenario, I would have gotten a preacher here. Tell he's setting up the circle of life there. Now, again, we fix that hand. We can play it. Play crows. You know, I think Mr. Opponent doesn't have too many, and I've seen this. I've actually played this deck quite a bit myself. There's a lot of times where, you know, they don't have many units to apply all of their special cards to. So they've got to play tall. And that's fine by us. We want them to play tall.
Man is an arrogant creature.
It's nice that we still have our Ceres to see some action. Just keeps getting that boosted up.
That is your brilliant move, truly.
So we got some pretty solid Skags value here.
Little as melons. You're one
Trying to let him right into that. That's all right. We'll go ahead and tempo ahead with leader. So again, big point slam. Worked out nice for us. So again, you'll see here I'm down to Heat Wave. I'm down to Kambi and a discard card. So you have options. If you want to, if you don't have a tall Heat Wave target here, which we do, I would recommend playing Kambi discard first. Now, granted, it's set up correctly. If Heat Wave were in my far right hand, again, there's no way you can do it. Again, make sure you're paying attention to the fact that Kambi will take care of the farthest right card in your hand once it's played. But at this point, even if he plays Gourds don't play for near 17 points. So I don't think there's usually, you know, probably a better Heat Wave target. Yeah, I'm debating on, you know, this is the position. This is a position I like to be in. But I think at this point, you know, again, playing Heat Wave. Would have been the better play here. We got his Oneiromancy. Look at that. We got his Oneir. He doesn't have Gourd in hand. So we actually got pretty lucky here. We got his Oneiromancy that he was going to Oneiro into Gourd with. So the fact is we got his Gourd by getting his Oneiromancy. So now I got his Gourd, and I'm going to take his 17-point Skags off the board. So we just literally, like that, turned tide on him because he cannot Oneiromancy into Gourd. And we're leaving him with the last say of a Becker's Rock Slide. And think about that. I mean, if he gets his Gourd off in final points here, I mean, there's a good chance we lose. Yeah, that Gourd plays for more than 10. So we got a shield wall matchup here. Again, another important game to win round 1 and bleed. And we want to be all in on round 1. So again, because we're thinning, there's no point in even keeping Kambi in our hand. I'm happy to kick those out and try to earn them back later. So things that do well for us, again, in any shield wall list, you know, because they're so dependent on their defender. So, you know, again, why Grimmist is such a great card against shield wall is because, you know, he'll allow us to get around the defender and then utilize Heat Wave on, you know, I would say probably of his Goda would be our best target. But like I said, chances are Vizgoda needs a long round 3 to really be useful anyway, so it just depends on our setup. But having Vizgoda is huge. I will say this, we do match up well against Shield Wall. We do not match up well against the Revenant list. I think the Revenant list was a bad matchup for us. And you can tell I'm coming out. I use Draco Turtle like I am hell bent on making happen. Pretty good hand round one, but I think we're tempoed far enough ahead that I don't want to commit anything unless I have to. I actually don't want to go too far ahead. So Ceres is not ready to be played in my mind.
To speak its last.
Does he bring out his Hannah? Look at that. Gets up and a shield proc. I mean, whew. Committed a lot to that. I should have heat waved it here. Did give good tempo. But gosh, hitting a 10 off the board, that is giving 2 points a play or a turn. Oof. I do hang on for a little bit. I like I said, I'm feeling like I want to heat wave it, but I don't quite yet. I'll go get I'll slam points again, because again, I don't want to use heat wave if I don't have to use heat.
Waste of time for me.
But see, then that, it just keeps putting him. I can see how fast he's catching up. So at this point, you just got to make the commitment and be done with it. But again, I feel like I'm far enough ahead. I don't mind committing it because I'm like, well, shoot, you know, just by bleeding him in rounds will suffice well enough that won't need to. You know, great. The thing is that this is why it's great. We didn't even have to commit our series. We didn't. I don't feel like we overcommitted. So I've got good items to bleed. So again, we have scenario. We have Ermion. Looks great. There goes Pro Mother into the package. Again, I'm always checking the bleeding. Again, because we're going to thin well in round 2, we're going to thin even better. You know, looks good for us to get Kambi, and like I said, it wasn't uncommon for us to not have the full package going into round 3 and draw it. So you don't have to have the cards in your hand. I probably shouldn't have taken that aggressive mulligan at the end there. You know, again, I feel like if you haven't thinned very well, then leave your final mulligan in there. Unless you have to get something out of your hand. In fact, he did not shield that up. You know, it's nice to have just enough removal in there. I think he was actually throwing it out a little bit there to bait me on removing it, but Viscota's 2 points a turn. So is Frigate. Well, and then one thing though is Viscota combos very well
Left, right, left.
with the trident,
right.
but that's all right. He got that combo rolling. We get Ceres rolling. So that's going to thin us down to 8 cards, which is really, really nice. So now we see Viscota come out. The great thing is the moment we stop playing, he only, like I said, he only gets 1 point a turn now. So we pass, and that takes a whole point off the board. He gains a point every time we play a card. So, perfect pass. We now know he has to go back down to 3 cards, which is great. We've gotten 2 shield procs out of him. That's great for us. And again, we have a fantastic 3 cards all left in our hand. You know, exactly what we want to see in a round 3. We drew half of our combo there. That having 2 preachers, not bad. See, it's risky here because there's only really 1 card we want to see. Like I said, we have bonded preachers. But because, you know, because I did that, that's why I took the risk. Is because you can see I can go back in, I can Freya's Blessing a Scald, and I can roll. So go ahead and purify that defender, even though it really doesn't matter. Again, regaining archers don't do too much in a short round.
Trust equally in heart and mind.
So we're not too far off from getting our
Have you no honor? Stand and fight!
certainly.
Gods protect us.
We'll go after it.
Hinds and beaks like a poison arrowheads.
There we go. We bring the... Hey, man, and look at that. We got it. And we were able to make an 8-point play there. So, still not bad. Still a pretty good combo there. And we end up... like I said, we had a 1 in 4 chance to get it. Actually, no, 1 in 3, because didn't we pull... Yeah, we thinned with Ermion. And no, 1 in 4. Yeah, we had 1 in 4 chance to get it.
Reach beyond what the eyes see and the ears hear.
Now look at, you know, we're ahead. Get a Kambi. He did get a lot of good cards out. I'm curious what his final card was.
Uh-oh. Trouble approaches.
Not quite sure, but drop it.
What would you do?
I like how it actually goes back to them for them to like make a decision to do nothing. Little BM, I guess. Well, Skellige might have been a kind of a tough matchup for us. I do feel like we fared very well against monsters. I think there's a lot of similarities in our deck styles, but we, like I said, we do well if monsters want to bleed us. That's fine, and we do very well in a short round. So some matches against Overwhelming Hunger I took to the long round. Some matches in monsters I got bled. About every other, you know, there's so much Overwhelming Hunger right now that I feel like we faced almost every option you can see. Again, I think the hardest thing about this deck is getting that round 1 hand to be perfect. You know, to set up for thinning very well, have Crow Mother in your hand, and look at a hand where you're like, hey, I can take this thing all in if I need to. There's just a lot of times where, unfortunately, a couple, you know, just maybe you don't have a great round 1 hand. You brick some things, aggressive mulligan too hard. So, you know, but again, those are not the majority of the times. The deck's viable by all means.
Hey, listen here. Listen
So
well.
like I said, look at that. You know, getting
Let's not get in the way of me.
scenario in hand by that. You know, and got Mork in hand. So, you know, just nice thinning right there. Those were really, really good draws from the thinning. You know, like I said, I have Crow Mother in hand. I have Priest in hand. He is going to get full value there. You know, one thing about monsters, though, is, you know, we can tempo out pretty fast. But in a long round 1, I feel like, especially with their drives, they can tempo ahead of us pretty quickly. Really good to see Striga come out there. So just like that, you know, he tempoed right back on even with us. Like I said, I'm going to drop Priest out there. Just see if we can't get Ceres to go. Looking at it. What's this guy doing out here? Not gaining any value. Nice to see Noon Wraith. Get a little moment to hold your breath there. And I'm sure the moment that they see that happen, they're like, damn it. Why didn't I remove that thing? Like I said, we tempoed ahead, but, you know, that Thrive can catch us quickly, too, so... See, you know, like I said, when people have taller removal, they'll usually wait a turn before they... Nobody wants to take out a 3 unless you got a Circle of Life. Usually people are like, hey, I've got a 6 removal. Well, you know, I want to feel like I'm getting value out of it, so let it grow a little bit. I do the same thing. The question here is, though, we're starting to see, though, that he can tempo very nicely against us. We lost Priest, which I think Draco would have been my next play there, but we lose Priest. And so I think at that point, we just have to say, hey, we'll take our pass here. Yeah. Like I said, look at that. I mean, he just paces right back with 7s and boosts up nicely. So, really, honestly, that was a good pass. Because you realize with monsters, they can catch you, they can pass you, and then they can, you know, take a round over quickly. So, you don't want to lose on even. And that can happen to you against monsters if you don't get out at the right time. So, again, you see us getting rid of cards. We're going in. We're getting ready to protect ourselves against the bleed here. But we did good thinning, so that's fine. We like what's in our, you know, we certainly love Heat Wave here. So we got it. Huge. Wow, what a great card to get right at the beginning there. So, it's almost like, gosh, you heat wave. I almost thought about heat waving that thing right away. But I like our hand. We can deal with that.
Bow before modern prayer. 1,000 beaks like 1,000 arrowheads.
Get that engine rolling. Well, yeah, probably get Draco out right next, and just like I said, it would be nice to keep card advantage if we can maintain the bleed there. But with Myrna coming out,
Such a shame.
that sucks.
We serve her who is virgin, mother, and
We do. We need to kind of keep point slamming. We choose to go in for crows. Werecat's such a strong card, man. But we thought, hey, let's get Draco going. Technically, if he hits that, it'll boost again. So, then we can play the rest in round in the back row. So he does give us the pass there, which is great because, you know, yeah, having 3 Pro Clan preachers is nice and all, but, you know, we didn't have to play scenario, and we still will be able to get them bonded. So, fantastic. We've got leader. We've got everything we need to play scenario. Heat wave, all of that, you know, very, very powerful stuff. You know, the one thing too is, you know, we've gotten Aussies with Kambi against Overwhelming Hunger. We've gotten some pretty good stuff out of monsters with Kambi, but we show this because obviously with Kambi and Morkvarg and Deck. Mr. Opponent had a unique strategy to kind of catch the victory. We snuff it out and take care of it. So we're up first, and might as well just drop scenario and see if he can answer it with Heat Wave. So he does go with Imperial Mana Core, which sucks. You know, we'll lose Bonded now.
Man is an arrogant creature.
I choose, like I said, I probably could have Ermidon and again, at that point we're not getting bonded anyway, so it really doesn't matter. I figure since you couldn't heat wave it, yeah, I'm saving Ermion. So we'll proc it through Grimmest.
Truly?
So you're going to see here, I'm going to come down to my favorite final 3 cards. You know, you've played the deck successfully if you can come down to Heat Wave, Kambi, and Morkvard. You know, beautiful position to be in. I think if you have those 3 cards left in your hand, your chances of losing probably in a short round 3 are probably very minor.
I can help you if you wish.
What do we do? So let's see, because we decoction. It's like, okay, well, I don't have a good heat wave target, so why would I heat wave right away? I'm gonna get I'm taking a card out of his hand regardless. So it's like, okay, well, you know, don't heat wave. So we do. We can be first here, and you can see that his last 3 cards are going to be Scenario, Goliath, and another Death Wish. I'm not sure what Death Wish that is. But we do. We're thinking, again, we're always thinking about the Heat Wave, but again, playing Kambi first here is the right play. You're getting a 6 for 10 is awful. So we want to see what is in his graveyard so we can see what we were able to get out. There it goes. And you can see there's the Goliath in his graveyard. So we did. We took a 10 out of his hand. So there he was waiting on playing Scenario and 2 Death Wish cards. So there it goes. Now he's got to drop his Haunt. And we'll Heat Wave that off and end this opponent's game.